Have you ever wondered why we get so pumped to sign up for an intense fitness boot camp on January 1st, but by February we're suddenly way more interested in buying some quote-unquote magic weight loss supplement? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today we're on a mission to uncover the actual universal human operating system behind the choices we make every single day. We're going to decode exactly why we absolutely crave speed and ease, and more importantly, how you can use this understanding to communicate better, solve problems, and just deliver incredible value to the world around you. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll hit the psychology of desire. Second, decoding the value equation. Third, maximizing the dream outcome. Fourth, the power of certainty. Fifth, eliminating time and effort. And finally, creating value for others. Let's jump right in with Section 1, the psychology of desire.
Why do we choose what we choose? Seriously, I want you to take a moment and just reflect on your own decisions. We love to tell ourselves that we're deeply logical creatures, right? We think we make choices like a spreadsheet, carefully calculating every single pro and con. But well, the reality of human psychology tells a vastly different story. We are not purely logical beings, not at all. We're emotional beings. We make our decisions based on these really deep-seated emotional pulls, and then we just use logic afterward to justify what we've literally already decided to do.
So what's really running the show here? It's the pleasure-pain principle. Just like this quote points out, human beings are fundamentally wired to automatically gravitate toward whatever is pleasurable and fiercely pull away from anything that's painful. At a completely primal level, we inherently desire things that are big, fast, easy, and safe. I mean, think about it. We want the biggest possible result in the fastest time with the absolute least amount of effort and basically zero risk. And hey, recognizing this isn't about judging human nature at all. It's just about understanding the actual reality of how we operate.
All right, moving on to Section 2, decoding the value equation.
Okay, let's dive into this framework. It's called the value equation. And it's honestly a brilliant model that perfectly maps out how we subconsciously calculate the worth of, well, absolutely anything. Notice how the whole concept is divided right down the middle by a line. Up on the top, we have the aspirational elements, the stuff we want to increase, our goals and our dreams. But on the bottom, we have the friction elements. These are the things we desperately want to decrease, like waiting around, sweating, or risking failure. And the rule of thumb is simple. The larger the top gets, and the closer that bottom gets to zero, the more incredibly valuable something becomes to us.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that there are 4 distinct variables at play in this equation. Number 1 is the dream outcome. Number 2 is the likelihood of achievement. Number 3 is time delay. And number 4 is effort and sacrifice. Every single decision you make, every product you buy, and every goal you pursue is quietly, subconsciously being filtered through these 4 variables in your mind. Let's break them down one by one.
Which brings us to Section 3, maximizing the dream outcome.
Notice how this concept totally redefines what people are actually after. Because, listen, people don't really buy products, and they very rarely buy prevention. No, they buy cures. They buy transformations. The dream outcome is basically the psychological gap between where someone is sitting right now and the future status or feeling they envision for themselves. Whether it's wanting to be healthier, learn a cool new skill, or just improve their community, they're chasing the feeling of reaching that ultimate destination.
Next up, Section 4, the power of certainty. Humans place an incredible amount of value on certainty. We are just massively risk-averse creatures. In fact, we'd often much rather avoid a loss than pursue a gain. Think about it like this. If you needed a highly specialized surgery, how much more would you be willing to pay the surgeon if you were their 10,000th patient compared to if you were their very first? I mean, you'd probably pay exponentially more for the highly experienced surgeon, right? But why? The surgery itself is exactly the same. The time it takes is exactly the same. What you're actually paying for is the likelihood of achievement. You are paying for certainty.
Now, let's talk about the bottom of the equation in Section 5, eliminating time and effort.
Think of the really stark contrast we have going on here. That top half of the equation, it's cinematic and bright. It's filled with all our goals, our wildest dreams, and the absolute certainty of success. But the bottom half? Yeah, that's the heavy, dark reality. It's the waiting around, it's the sweating, it's the sacrificing. And honestly, a huge flaw in human psychology is our incorrect estimation of effort. We almost always underestimate how much time and energy it's actually going to take to achieve those top half dreams, which is exactly why we abandon them the second that bottom half friction gets way too high. Let's ground this theory in a very visceral, everyday reality. Let's compare traditional fitness with liposuction. If the dream outcome for both is exactly the same, let's say losing weight and looking great,
Why on earth is one just a low-cost gym subscription while the other is a multi-thousand-dollar surgical procedure? Well, just think about the effort and sacrifice involved. Traditional fitness requires waking up super early, losing hours every single week, heavily restricting your diet, and dealing with all that physical soreness. Liposuction, on the other hand, it requires you to fall asleep, wake up thin, guaranteed, and sure, be a bit sore for a few weeks. But the human brain values that immediate, practically effortless result exponentially more than the delayed, high-effort path. Every time.
And the hard data absolutely proves this bias. Just get this. The supplement industry is worth a staggering $123 billion, while the entire health club industry sits at just about $62 billion. And yet, they both offer the exact same dream outcome: health, energy, and fitness. But swallowing a pill requires zero effort, zero time delay, and practically zero sacrifice compared to, packing your bag, driving to a gym, and lifting heavy weights for an hour. Our psychological bias for quick, low-effort solutions isn't just a theory. It's literally a multi-billion-dollar reality.
Let's look at one more really powerful example. Say your dream outcome is just simple relaxation and decreased anxiety. You basically have two paths: meditation or a prescription anti-anxiety pill like Xanax. Now, meditation, it's got a fairly low likelihood of immediate success for a beginner, a massive time delay to actually master, and requires the serious mental effort of sitting still every single day. The pill, though, very high likelihood of success, maybe a 15-minute time delay, and the only effort required is literally just swallowing it. This right here is exactly why lowering that time delay and effort creates such massive perceived value, even when the end goal is the exact same. This leads us straight into our final part, Section 6, Creating Value for Others. So why does all this matter? Well, this entire explainer is really about deeply understanding human nature so that you can become a vastly better provider of value. Whether you're out there leading a team, teaching a student, designing a new product, or honestly just trying to help out a friend, your ultimate goal should be to help them reach their dream outcome while taking on the heavy burden of that friction yourself. Make things faster, make things easier, and make things safer for them. Because when you can eliminate the time and effort for other people, you deliver immense, absolute win-win value. And really, that is how you make a positive dent in the universe. So I want to leave you with a final kind of provocative thought here. Look around at your own life, your work, and your community. Where are people struggling the most with that bottom half of the value equation? Where are they just bogged down by frustrating time delays and completely overwhelming effort? Ask yourself, how will you use this equation to consciously reduce friction for the people in your community today? If you can figure out how to solve that, you literally hold the key to truly impactful human connection. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I genuinely hope this sparks your curiosity to just keep on learning.